All right, as always, starting off with a very big GM for everybody out there. As usual, we're going to take it right into the market recap. Ethereum is up today, Mick. Ethereum is up.
Oh, I didn't even check. Where are we at?
Yes, we are at 2,549.
Let's go.
Let's go. Come on. Unrugged by the Russians, apparently. Well, actually, I don't know who we've been unrugged by anymore. But it's going up, and that's what matters. But, of course, whether or not that's had any sort of dampening effect on the NFT market, the results are incredibly clear here. Looking at the tickers here across the board, look at all that green, Mick. It is crazy. It is crazy. The market over the past 72 hours has just been bananas, right? You could have bought just about anything. Not quite, but most things.
You could have played most secondaries of anything reasonable.
You could have. And you know, magic internet money number would go up, right? You would be you would struggle, you would have struggled to have magic internet money number go down over sort of the last 72 hours, unless you were holding any time. But that's a story for another time. Haha. Okay, moving along. Let's have a look at some of the big winners or losers over the last 24 hours here. Obviously, Clonex here being the big runner. Floor now up to 12.8 ETH. That's absolutely massive. A 40% volume change over the last 24 hours. The Killer Girlfriends, of course, opening up into their reveal. I think they had their reveal sort of within the last 24 hours. Again, settling in at a floor of about 2.2, give or take, which is not too shabby, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure those are up now. Pre-reveal, they were trading between sort of 1.3 to 1.5, maybe, Mick? I think it was, give or take. Right, and so now holding a floor of 2.2 ETH. It's really nice to see for the Killer Girlfriends. Good on anyone who managed to get in, pre-reveal. Some other gainers over the last sort of 24 hours here. Azuki's bouncing around that 7 ETH mark here. It looks like we're seeing a bit of stability. I wonder if we're going to see an Azuki run to 10. Oh, please, let's see. But anyway, of course, the superstars of the day, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, sitting at that 100 ETH floor. We were just talking about it a couple of days ago. We were just talking about how, there's a massive psychological barrier at that 100 ETH mark, but it looks like it doesn't matter to the apes, Mick. It just doesn't matter, does it?
They just keep running.
You love to see it. Super normal by Zipsy as well, opening up. I think they were trading at or about the 2.5 mark, I think it is. So they do seem to be up just a little bit today as they're ticking closer and closer to their reveal. Currently now holding a floor of 2.9 ETH. And you know what? I could keep on going, but there's greens all across the board here. They're really interesting. One of the top increases here over the last 24 hours, Divine Anarchy. Looks like they've had some sort of news here because the floor looks like it's doubled overnight. 178% increase, now up to 0.35, although admittedly, I haven't heard from him in a long time and I don't hold any. Do you still hold any Divine Anarchy, Mick? I know you were a big fan.
I was a big fan of Divine Anarchy. I had to go back to remember what they were. No, I didn't hold any. I sold out in the initial pump, so it looks like it's recovered to probably even above that floor, just by a little bit. So no doubt they're tacking on the back of this anime run. They were a surprising, that's why with these recent pumps, I'm surprised. That's why I kind of wondered where they came from. We have seen good anime collections. They've been here, and they have really, really underperformed. So, it's good to see them getting some benefit now.
Yeah, you got it. And I do think there's probably, one notable collection in my mind, to be honest with you, Mick, that in my opinion, is benefiting accordingly from this entire, anime pump, and that's the Uwu crew. Right, you think about, Lives of Asuna, and I'm pretty sure with Killer Girlfriends as well, the Uwu Crew NFTs, I think, sort of being one of the more notable, anime PFP drops of I would say our last NFT arc, if you will, right? If we talked about, story arcs, these guys are definitely from, the prior months. The Uwu crew, I think, had whitelist to a fair few of those drops, and the price action on those Uwus is reflective of that, right? Now up to a floor of 0.67. I mean, I recall just maybe a month and a half ago, you could get an Uwu for 0.1, right? So they're 6x on, their prices a month ago. I mean, of course, that's it. The same thing could be said for a whole bunch of other collections, but the message here is clear. The market's well in the green. Things are hot. Things are frothy. And we don't know how long it stays this way for. But let's enjoy the good times and let the good times roll on while they last. Taking us into, as usual, our top 4 recommendations for today's Dropcast. Kicking it off with the fourth place recommendation for today. And we don't always do this, but today we are. In the 4th place, it's the VeVe Disney Mickey and Friends NFT collection. These are going in 4 hours time, 57,853 of these. Oh, wow. These are nice. These are nice. What are these? They're interactive cards, right? Mickey and Friends interactive cards at 40 gems a pop, blind box format. A helpful note here from Jinzo saying that this collection has a large supply, which should give us a decent chance at success. Are you feeling lucky here, Mick?
Yeah, I'll definitely give a punt on these ones. Lenticular cards, so you'll be able to move them around. You'll be able to see them sort of change as they move, which is a little bit redundant when you consider it's in digital format, but it's retro, it's cool, It's Disney. Disney flies on VeVe, so these are an easy buy for me.
Yeah, you got it. These are these are absolutely an easy attempted buy, I would say. Specifically these Disney collections as well. I believe, Mick, you mentioned, doing reasonably well. How many X you reckon on this one, Mick? 10X if you pull one?
Oh, it's going to be wildly different depending on the rarity that you get. So if you pull sort of like a base rarity, it's probably going to sit where it is. It might even go down by a couple of bucks, but who cares? It's not even significant when you consider gas. On a typical ETH buy.
True. That's true.
But if you get a Goofy, if you get a secret rare, so 4,444 of them on a, how big is this collection?
57K.
So that's decent. That's reasonable odds.
It's not too bad, yeah. 9%, 8%.
I reckon it'll be a few $100s for one. A couple of hundred to a few hundred, maybe even more. So based on the buy price, I think that's really good.
Nice. So it seems like this is very likely to be a plus EV play. So awesome, and that was the VeVe Disney Mickey and Friends NFT collection. As Mix alluded to, this is a blind box format, 57K in total pulls at 40 gems a pop. You can either pull Mickey, Minnie, Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, Pluto, or Goofy. So I think there's nothing much more to say than get in there and buy. And thanks as always to Jinzo for the helpful note. Hunterachi here in the Dropcast chat saying Jinzo baiting us. We will all lose. Well, we will fight. And we will try. We will try to win accordingly.
Get your clown suits out.
That I definitely will be doing. Alrighty, we're going to climb up the ladder one rung here up away from 4th place into our 3rd place recommendation for today. And it is the Global Citizen Club. These are a pretty interesting one, I think, Mick. These are a series of 8,888 very autistic, I suppose, illustrated gentlemen, perhaps, at 0.08 Ethereum a pop. I actually can't tell if there's any, if these are just men or there's, men and ladies here. I can't really tell. It might just be men. These are going in 2 hours time. What do you think of the art here, Mick? This is pretty distinctive, I have to say. You talk about, clean, distinct art. Like, this fits the bill.
Yeah, it is. It's clean and distinct is a good way to reference it. It's got a very it's like iconography in itself.
Yeah.
You can see some of the notable characters that are in there in the hero image. I'm not sure the collection is going to look much like that, given it's going to be randomized traits. But it's got a style of its own. It's recognizable at the same time. They'll work as PFPs. So as far as a standalone collection goes, it looks good. Got nothing bad to say about it.
I think so. I'm very inclined to agree with you, Mick. Look, I'm just going to have a quick look at the socials here for the Global Citizen Club. They don't do too shabby here. 13K in the Discord for an 8K collection. 9,680 followers on Twitter. That's not too shabby. On the Discord, sorry, on that 13K, 1,600 of them were online. So that's about a percentage of 12%, which is... It's probably a little lower, a touch lower than we'd like to typically see, especially in Discord servers of about that 13K level. But, it's not too shabby. It's not in the single digits. And they have an active pre-sale. So just having a quick look here, Mick, the Global Citizen Club do have 4,200 mints currently on the floor, holding a floor price of 0.129, which is not too shabby considering the mint price, I believe, is 0.08. So there's a little, well, I suppose once you factor in gas and royalties, you're basically at net, right? So the floor is basically at mint. With 79 ETH volume traded, though. So I do quite like that 79 ETH volume traded number here, Mick. I do think there's definitely some buy-side interest for the Global Citizen Club. That said, it's not phenomenal, right? It's kind of just holding at or just a little above mint. The socials, again, are sort of, fair to middle in. What do you think of the roadmap here, Mick? Does the roadmap have enough to swing the Global Citizen Club potentially into buy territory?
Yeah, look, the roadmap doesn't have a huge amount in it, but it's decent. It's well considered. Once the minting's completed, there'll be a reveal. They've got artist collaborations and a surprise airdrop. But that is 100 limited edition NFTs. So I'm not sure whether they're going to be like 10 or 100 of each, or how they're going to do that, or if only 100 people get them. They're going to implement a hold and earn token.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not saying staking, they're just saying hold and earn.
Right.
And you'll get GCC mile. So if it is a hold and earn, it's not so bullish for the floor price, but still, you got tokenomics, which is great. With that rewards program attached to GCC mile, you're going to be able to redeem limited edition destination pass NFTs.
Yeah.
You'll be able to burn and unlock your own adventure collection with your classic NFT. Hang on. What do they say? With the option to burn and unlock your own unique GCC Adventures collection with your classic NFT. So it sounds like there is going to be another collection of these, which is thematic, but to get one, you'll need to burn this current collection. And then there will be more exciting rewards and ideas, including real-life utilities and premium NFT collections to be announced later. They're going to set up a DAO, 10% of sales, 5% of royalty fund, and then they'll Together and Beyond is the last thing listed, developing premium, exclusive, and luxurious lifestyle-related projects for the community with DAO. Create inner circle top-tier members and collab with premium brands to offer real-life utilities, limited GCC merch, products, and experiences for all members worldwide. So a lot of words, not too much detail on practically what that means. I would pretty much stop at the point of saying they're going to have additional collections. You're going to be able to deflate this collection to get those collections.
Yeah, the socials are fair to middle in. The pre-sale is sort of, touch of meat on the bone. And it sounds like, we probably don't, feels like we don't have as much detail as you'd necessarily like to have there, Mick. Is that what I'm getting? I feel like I'm getting that sense from you.
Yeah, look, there's detail there, but I think we get a bit better at predicting these things now, reading these roadmaps and sort of being able to build in what's viable into our pricing and whether or not we think this is a good collection. And where I think their roadmap stops is at the point of having a passive earning token, which you can then spend for royalties or benefits of some kind, and you're going to be able to burn the collection to get other NFTs. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, you got it. Well, does that then, considering the fact that the socials are fair to middle in, pre-sales basically at mint, you got a touch of meat on the bone there, does that take this into a buy, or do you reckon this is just a monitor and we call it a monitor and move on?
I'm tempted to consider this as a monitor just to see how it moves. It's definitely profitable at this point in time, but it could stall.
Yeah, exactly. And the last thing you want to do is to ape early and have the mint stall out from under you. Floor falls out from under your feet, and next thing you know, you're holding the Global Citizen Club bag, right? Not that that's necessarily going to happen here, but okay, in that case, I'm inclined to agree with you here, Mick. Then the Global Citizen Club getting a monitor, because really there is buy-side interest. right? 79 ETH of volume traded is you can't ignore that. 4,200 items on the floor. Again, that's 50% of supply is out, with the floor price holding, above mint. Although, again, basically, you're close to break even here, considering the mint price is 0.08. I think probably the best thing to do here is monitor volume on the public sale when they do go live, which is in a very, very short, by the way, 1.5 hours time for the Global Citizen Club. So keep an eye out for those. Potentially, they may come good, but make sure I think these are absolutely then a monitor, as we're talking about. All right. So that was the Global Citizen Club, taking us up the ladder now, up to second place. And this one's actually not on the drop polls today, but we like it so much that we just had to mention it. It is the Pop Art Cats by Matt Chesco. This particular drop's been percolating for a long time now. These are a series of 10,000 kitties, as you can kind of see them here on the video. And they're going, so they went at 0.09 ETH a pop on pre-sale. There's already 7,900, close to 8,000 supply already on OpenSea, with a remaining 2,000 going on public a little later today. And the supply going on public is going to be priced at 0.18 ETH, which is a little steep, to be honest with you. When I say it out like that, Mick, I'm not going to lie. But the floor at the same time, of course, is currently held at 0.34, so it still makes them, a very, very nice, I think, well, there's still a fair bit of meat on the bone, I would say. I'm going to try and figure out exactly what time these are going to mint here, Mick. I'm pretty sure these are going at 10 a.m. Eastern this morning, which is in 2.5 hours' time on public. In the meantime, what do you reckon of the art here, Mick?
I've tried to deconstruct the art myself, because I've been following this collection. Got whitelist, minted my whitelist. I'm pretty surprised at the mint price, to be honest, especially in the public for what you're getting. It's quite steep. So I know there's an artist here that people know. I know there's a massive community, huge following, and stylistically, it's a nice collection. It's recognizable. It looks like. It kind of looks like you've painted the wall, or you've created a very textured canvas, and then you paint the textured canvas, and then you use that as the base for your generative collection. So you create all those generative elements based on your canvas being cut out, and then you generate from there. That's kind of how I think they did it. I don't know. They could have just done this in Photoshop using effects, filters, and such, and that's probably how it was done. But that's what you're looking at. When you look at it, that's what it looks like. Right. Textured canvas, they painted these cats on, very vibrant colors. I like them. It's just I didn't expect them to be a 0.18. That's all. That said, Matt Chesco, former industrial designer and mechanical engineer from Canada, extremely well known, 1.1 million subscribers on YouTube, 2.7 million followers on TikTok. Yeah. He's not Damien Hirst, but he's got a stack socials. So, people will want these items for the heritage.
Straight up. And, you talk about stack socials, the Pop Art Cats clocking in with blockbuster socials here, 117K in the Discord. Not as many as we would have typically liked to have seen online, to be honest with you. Only about 10K or so, which is close to that 10% mark, but it's a little lower than we usually see. I'm not too sure why. Could perhaps be a time zone thing. And on the Twitter, the Pop Art Cats do reasonably well as well. 10,500 followers on Twitter on a tweet-by-tweet basis, depending, sort of seeing between 70 to over 100 likes and retweets on a per-tweet basis. Having a look at the mutual followers on Twitter, a whole bunch of Metaverse HQ fam, so shout out to all of you as usual. Mick, I see you follow them as well, which is cool. But really, outside of that, no, I wouldn't say they're particularly followed by OGs or anything of that sort. Nonetheless, there's a solid following here, and look, I think the pre-sale, I don't even know if you could call it a pre-sale, to be honest with you, speaks accordingly to the price, right? Again, 8,000 mints have already essentially been minted at 0.09 Ethereum a pop. These are holding a floor price of 0.34 And get this, Mick, 1,000 ETH of volume traded.
Crazy, right?
1,000 ETH of volume traded. Get out of here. That is crazy. That is crazy.
I do like their roadmap, though. So I'm excited to talk through that. It's got a lot in it, surprisingly.
Yeah, what do they got?
So it's a well-considered roadmap. Like I don't talk roadmaps up much, but for something this simple, it's a very well-considered roadmap. So you've either got an artist here who knows NFTs or has learned NFTs, or he's got a very good team, and I like his vision. So phase 1, there's a giveaway. Wow, we haven't seen that before, right?
Yeah.
Phase 2, rewards. This is where it starts to get interesting. So your rewards are based on you holding your NFT.
Right.
So starting February 1st, if you hold your NFT for 3 months, you'll be rewarded with a free limited edition t-shirt of your NFT.
Right.
If you hold it for 6 months, you will then get a free canvas print of your NFT. Right. And we're not talking about Bob Picasso's here, which are dear to my heart. These are, an actual reputable artist that you're going to get a canvas print of the NFT.
Yeah.
If you hold it for 9 months, you'll be entered in to win one of 10 custom paintings by Matt Chesco. Now, 1 in 10, fat chance it's a lotto ticket. I don't know that many people are going to do it for that reason.
Yeah.
But after that phase 2 rewards part of the roadmap, there's a phase 3, which is summer 2022. Obviously US summer. Each cat owner will have access to pop art luxury suites. So cool. I don't know how this is going to work, but I see these as being like the artifact pods.
I don't know. I mean, I hope they're artifact pods.
I don't think they're going to work the same way, but that's the play.
More likely, they're Twitter banners.
maybe, right? But it's kind of a cool concept to think that you could have. And the reason I say that they might be pods, I'll get to it as we move down the roadmap. So phase 4, you're going to get pop art leopards NFT. So it's another collection. Great. They look the same. Awesome. Pop art 5, you're going to get item NFTs. So don't know what they're used for, but cool.
Okay.
And then phase 6, 3D pop art. So the pop art will become 3-dimensional and will enter the metaverse. So this is where things, I think, get kind of interesting. Because if they are going to be 3D and enter the metaverse, then maybe these pop art pods do become these really cool 3D, like the artifact pods. But when you're in them, everything is done in a 2D pop art style. Like, I think conceptually, and when you're in it, it would look really, really good.
I mean, yes.
Trust me.
Yes.
It would look good.
I agree with you. It would look good. If
can they do it?
Yes. If these things came to fruition, they would be very cool. I agree. But what is for sure, right, is that this is a well-hyped project with a solid, reputable artist behind it, with a significant reputation, right? What you've just described in terms of the roadmap is, basically concrete, right? Concrete, and there's, a fair bit of meat in there. So.
And it ends with a DAO, but what doesn't end with a DAO?
Yeah, that's right. That's yes, indeed. Most things do end with a DAO. I do think it'd be incredibly cool. I feel like you need to go and talk to the team, Mick, and give them that idea so that they can actually do it. I just have my expectations set a little lower, right? Twitter banner apartments. I'm telling you, I'm mentally setting my expectation a little lower. That said, right, we've basically seen this trend over the last week. Right? If it's a legitimate collection that is not a rug with a reputable team, it's going up in value. So
it's doing well.
It's doing well. So I struggle to see how these don't follow suit, especially as, people are going to look at these. They're going to think Coolman's Alien Friends 2.0 straight up, right? Because that's what I don't know. Well, that's what I think. I don't know what everyone else thinks, but that's what I think for sure. And so,
do you reckon it also has a potential creatures play? Like, they don't look the same. Obviously, it's different art style, but that sort of young, creative, massive hype community, wanted to play metaverse, lots of stuff in the roadmap.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm feeling.
It's totally possible. Totally possible. And yeah, a community, unified by and built around an artist, and their love for an artist's work is, in my opinion, like the epitome of Web3. Like that's what this is about, right? Like that's what we should be out here doing. That's what people should be out here doing, and that's what Matt Chesco is out here doing. Hopefully, fingers crossed, not a cash grab, right? But so far looks good, right? So far looks good, So yeah. Probably the last note here, actually, from Hunterachi in the chat. Thank you. Looks like it's 10 per transaction is the limit, so there's only 200 transactions at 10 a pop here left to go on the public. Will you be part of the 200? Run. How much gas? Where are we gonna put for gas, guys? I don't know. Figure it out, right? But
yeah, but to be honest, like at 0.1, what is it, 0.18 per? Right, with 0.335 on the floor.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Well, you do have to be careful, but also just consider buying secondary pre-sale. They have been somewhat reliable plays recently if you think that there's going to be demand after a very quick sellout on the primary. And there isn't too much difference between a 0.18 mint with chunky gas and the current 0.335 floor. So just think about it.
That's true. These are things to consider. But I think suffice to say, the pop art cats by Matt Chesco, I mean, these are a buy, right? I mean, these are a buy, but DYOR in terms of how you want to go about it, right?
So, it's a straight buy. It's just don't wreck yourself.
That's a good way to put it, Mick. We'll officially pencil that into our ratings book after this. Buy, but don't wreck yourself. All right, so that was the Pop Art Cats NFT, again, not featuring on a Metaverse HQ Drop Polls today, but absolutely, you absolutely need to be keeping an eye on these ones. Again, going on their public mint in just shy of 2.5 hours from now, 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you're listening to this on the recording, you probably don't have too long. So check it out. The link will be in the description of the video. Moving on from the Pop Art Cats by Matt Chesco up into first place for today. And we have, need I even say it? It's Raid Party. Hell yeah, Raid Party. I actually don't know how large the collection size is here. Looks like there's going to be 1,100 and... Well, I'll read it off the drop polls here so that I'm not confusing myself. Looks like total supply size here, 15,555. Basically idle MMORPG warriors, right? Of some sort. They're going on there's multiple phases to the sale, right? Basically starting from, sort of 6 p.m. Eastern, I think it is. Looks like there's a whitelist mint window, 8 o'clock Eastern. There's a public sale via pack reservation for 4,444 heroes, and then and at the same time, there's going to be a pack reservation public sale for 11,111 fighters. Now, there's an ongoing auction, right, for Genesis heroes. I'm pretty sure these are. And the prices for the subsequent heroes and fighters are going to be determined according to the auction end price. There's a Medium article, again, very helpful note in the drop polls there, no doubt by Jinzo. There's a Medium link on there. Make sure you smash that link if you want to have a look for more information. But Mick, you've gone deep on this. Of course, the socials are blockbuster. I think everyone listening knows that already. Raid Party is probably one of the more anticipated drops over the past couple of days. Why don't you share your take on, well, I suppose the art, although the art's really second fiddle here to the game, right? So why don't you talk us through that as well?
Yeah, the art is anime-esque, pixel art. You've got a lot of attention to detail on the character designs. You've got your PFP heroes. You've got your full-body avatars. They have some really stylistic elements, Eastern elements to them that look quite cool. the only reservation I have with the art is that they haven't got the weapons that you pick up and the items that you equip are not visible on the heroes. They are generated based on the power of the heroes themselves.
Right.
So I think there is a chance, you've got the generative cosmetics of the hero, but the weapons are all going to be the same based on their damage. So the top rarity heroes are all going to have the same weapons. That's the downside, I think, to the way the collection art has been aligned to the game mechanics. But other than that, the detail in the pixel art, especially in the PFPs, they're good. They look great. It's all on chain. So they've done a really good job of being able to capture all of that data, or if they yet to be proven, but by design, that's hard to do. So well done to the team, and they're animated, which is great. So bullish on the art style. And if you want, I'll roll straight into the game mechanics.
Oh, yeah.
Because these are detailed. And I will try to keep them as high level as I can. So what is minting at the moment, what is on auction at the moment, are the Genesis heroes. So the Genesis heroes are about 25% better than the non-Genesis heroes. That's the easiest way for me to describe it. So they're better at summoning new heroes. They have lower cooldowns. They have higher damage multipliers and other bits and pieces that benefit your journey. So these Genesis heroes, you're going to want them if you can get them. But the way the auction works is there's 1,000 slots, and you have to be in the top bidders at the end of the auction to get one of these. And you will pay whatever you bid. And if you don't get in the top, if you don't get access and you don't get to buy one, well, then you obviously get refunded that money.
Right.
So the purpose of this, they say, is to combat gas. Obviously, given it's a transparent auction and you can see what everyone else is bidding, it's just to make sure that the floor is as high as it possibly can be, because people are going to compete over that entry price. There's a lot of speculation around how high that entry price is going to go, from anywhere from 1.6 ETH all the way up to 8 ETH. We'll see where it ends up in another 6 hours roughly. But where that ends will determine how much you pay for the rest of the collection. So those Genesis heroes, that's what's being auctioned at the moment. Once those are minted, then you're going to be able to buy the packs of heroes and fighters. So the heroes you already know about, the fighters you don't. The fighters are going to be the things swinging the weapons in the game. So the heroes are going to be the PFP. They're like the leaders. The fighters are your the characters that you're going to see on the screen. It's going to be like 5 or 6 of them in a party, and they're going to be swinging their weapons around and doing damage to the boss. And the amount of damage they do will be determined by their cosmetics. So when you create a fighter, it's going to get an RNG set of attributes, clothing, hats, body, blah, blah, blah. And that combination of rarities is going to be compared against all of the other ones in the collection. And then they have a base damage and a peak damage, and that'll get balanced over the collection rarity set, and everyone will get their damage DPS modifier applied. Then as more fighters enter the collection, as you mint more as the game goes on with the token, based on what rarity they have in comparison to the initial set, they will then have their damage multipliers applied. This is getting a bit confusing. I'm trying to keep it accessible. So, if you're missing anything, dig into the white paper and sort of hone in on the bits that you're not getting. So that's how the heroes and the fighters relate. Now, you're going to need to stake your heroes and your fighters, and they will passively do damage to whatever boss is live at that point in time. And the bosses will have their own spawning table. So there is a percentage chance, that 50% chance you're going to get a basic boss, and a 1% chance you get a godly boss, and then there's a bunch of tiers in between. What those tiers mean is how much health they have and how much token you get for how much damage you do to the boss. So the higher the tier is, the better the token return is based on the damage you do. Talk later didn't read everything I just said. You want high rarity, high damage fighters with a good hero staked, and then you're going to get good token output. If you have low cosmetic rarity fighters, sorry, with a low cosmetic rarity hero, you're going to get less tokens when they're staked. That's all of that. Everything I said, that's what it means.
So to be clear then, we can't just play the game with a hero. You can't just play the game with a fighter. You need both.
Yeah, you need the combination. So the hero will apply modifiers to your team of fighters that are doing damage.
Gotcha. Very cool. This is very cool. What's the end game here, right? Like is also the question. So we get the tokens, what do we do with the tokens?
So the tokens, like we've seen with most of the other play to mint games, you're going to spend those tokens to summon new fighters. So this is where things get even more complicated. You're going to summon new fighters, and you're going to be able to enhance those fighters to make them do more damage using the token. So this is right now what it's looking like is that you're just going to have this inflationary collection that you just get more and more and more and more. Right. So how do you get deflation? Well, you can burn these things and you can burn the tokens to actually, get more utility. So there's things you can do. There's burning, enhancing, and hero minting, and they're going to modify the costs of all those things based on the active players. So what I mean there is, if you have a player base, right, and that player base shrinks, well, everything is going to get cheaper to do. And if that player base increases, everything's going to get more expensive to do. So it's going to incentivize people to play if less people are playing. And then similarly, if you've got a peak hero limit that can ever exist, or a peak fighter limit, the closer you get to the peak fighter limit, the cheaper it becomes to do all of the deflationary mechanics in the game. So they're trying to promote people to burn and remove and enhance as more fighters exist to bring that number of fighters down, back in check.
That's awesome. Talk about like you used the word earlier in the self-managing system, right? It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, cyclical dynamic economies. I've spoken about them a few times before. It's something that we were big on with Hunger Brains, and I'm seeing a lot of it here. And I love to see these things because it just means that they're not having to deal with the problems, at least as much so, down the track. It's something that they deal with up front. Everyone gets to see that they're there, and then everyone uses them as they should be used. So, I love that they've done all this.
This is very, very interesting. That's good. It's good to get your take, Mick. Another game master in your own right. No, that's awesome. So in that case, I think Raid Party really, they're clocking in first place because they're absolutely a huge deal. The auction is going to set the price through some sort of, obtuse, there's some obtuse formula. The auction's going to set the price for both the heroes and the fighters, right? That probably means that despite Raid Party being incredibly popular, the team's actually doing a pretty decent job of value extraction already from the market, right? You get what I'm saying. Well, basically, they're taking that cash off the table, right? That cash that could have been gas war money, that could have been flipper margin, right? They're taking that off the table, or a fair chunk of it at least.
And it's very easily justified with things like we're saving people gas and we're making sure we prioritize the coffers so that there's more money for development. All the stuff that really, I don't know, man. I don't like hearing it. I don't like being told it when I know that reality is it's just maximizing profit. And that's all it is. I don't think it needed to be done this way. It definitely didn't need to be done this way, to be perfectly honest. I think if you wanted to approach it the way they have and you wanted to say, well, this is going to maximize what we can do, then you really need to tell everyone what you're going to do. You know, if you just go with a standard mint, even with a big collection, fine. That's what everyone else is doing. It's kind of market standard approach. You're not obligated to do any more than the market's doing if you're treating things the way the market treats it. But when you go out and want to take this much potential ETH off the table and price things this high, why?
Yeah, I hear you. So then I suppose the question is, well, RaidParty are first place because we know it's it's well hyped. It's conceptually interesting, right? I'm not sure that we've seen, a game at least, launch and sustain itself, or at least not. And certainly we haven't seen, I don't think, like an idle game like this, right? Not in this format, not with in-game sprites that you mint and so on and so forth. So I guess the question then is, we always circle back to this, right? Is this actually a buy? And I think it really depends on where that auction lands and sort of where everyone has established their own price strategies, right? Because this could, if the auction blows out, that brings up the cost of the heroes and the fighters. And so for anyone looking to buy, right, there is all the potential in the world, right, that the market determines that that's fair value, and you don't see any price acceleration beyond the point of sale. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I honestly think wherever this goes, it's going to run anyway. I think there's so much hype about it. The risk is, like we covered this in the pre's, the gacha machine, you mentioned it yourself. That was a bit of a miss. Team had to apologize for how that went. And I know firsthand, you make some stuff ups, you have some big bumps in the road and things don't go well at the start. Like it can just collapse. The bottom can fall out, the whole thing collapses and all the cards fall down. That can happen. That can happen to anyone. And there is a risk here. So I think especially with big buy-ins, with that initial concern around the gacha mechanics and what happened, that is viable concern. That is viable, not FUD, but
no, it's
just consider your price.
Absolutely. And you have to do that, right? Because just because it's an interesting game, doesn't necessarily mean that the collection's going to the moon, right? I bought PX Quest on pre-sale at 0.6. It's at 0.28, right? It is what it is, right? It's not a big deal, but these things can and do happen, right? So just because it's conceptually interesting and just because it's in first and just because we like it as a project doesn't necessarily mean, at least this time. If there was a gas war, I'd be a little more bullish about about the profitability of this, Mick, of course, as you know. But in this case, because we don't actually know the price point at which the mint's going to settle at, it's a monitor for me.
It's a buy from me because I'm so bullish on the white paper. Yeah. Like if they execute this, it's too good. Like it's just, for me personally, I haven't seen anything better. This is the best I've seen to date, hands down, times probably 5. It's just so well constructed, and there's so much in it. And I know how well these games perform on mobile. So they stick the landing. This goes hard. But would I spend? Would I buy in at 8 ETH to get one of the Genesis heroes? Probably not.
Yeah.
So, it is a buy with a caveat if I don't know how high this auction's going.
Yeah, and you see, so fair enough. And so Mick's a buy. I'm a monitor for basically the same reason that Mick, that caveat that Mick's put in, really, which is we just don't know how high this is going to go. I've probably got my own, price expectations, right? That I won't share, but I'm sure everyone can establish your own. You need to keep an eye on the auction, and you need to sort of see where that lands, and then act accordingly based on the public sale. I too am bullish on the game overall. I just wouldn't buy in, if Asmic said it was 8 ETH or some astronomical price, because you also need to remember there's a little underhyped, game being released by a team of somewhat blue cats in 48 hours time, right? So there's kind of that too, I'm just saying, right?
Cat season's coming.
I'm just saying, right? 48 hours. All right, you got 48 hours. What are you going to do, right? And what's the market going to do, and how's the market going to respond? That's an interesting point of consideration. And so that's why you've just got my personal sense is, anyway, that you've got to be, you've got to exercise a little caution with where you're putting your liquidity in the next sort of 48 to 72 hours. But again, that's just my approach. Of course, everyone's free to, you establish your own strategy and position and act accordingly. But I do like this game a lot. I hope to be playing it. Actually, I intend to be playing it unless for some reason, the price goes prohibitive. And so I think that's really all that's there to be said about Raid Party getting what is really, I would say, a must monitor to buy recommendation. Mix a buy. I'm basically a must monitor, or please monitor if you're around. Which wraps us up really for today's Dropcast. What do you reckon, Mick? I know you've done a lot of talking. You're probably tuckered out.
No. I was excited for today's. I really like talking through good game mechanics, and Raid Party delivers in spades. So, I'm hyped. I hope it goes well.
Yeah, you got it. In that case, that takes us to the end of today's Dropcast. As always, again, a quick recap here. In our top 4 picks, into 4th place was the VeVe Disney Mickey and Friends NFT collection. Getting basically the get in there, smash buy if you can. The Global Citizen Club getting a monitor, I believe it was, right, Mick, on those 8,888 stylized people. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that public as it does go live. The Pop Art Cats by Matt Chesco getting what I think was the double buy recommendation. Oh, we do love those Pop Art Cats. They are going to go very fast. If you're thinking about playing the public sale at 10 a.m. Eastern, remember there's 2K supply. 10 max per transaction, which means you've got 200 transactions that are going to go through, and that's going to be the end of that. So think about that as you're going into, if you're thinking of playing the public sale, think about that. If not, the pre-sale on Pop Art Cats as of right now, which is about 8 in the morning Eastern, is about 0.34 ETH on the floor. And of course, in first place, we've just talked about it, Raid Party, getting, of course, the must monitor to buy recommendation. Again, only reason why it's a must monitor for me is because I just don't know how high it's going to go. And so you just need to figure out for yourself whether or not, based on your own personal liquidity and your own personal situation, whether or not you intend to buy or not. But other than that, I think that's it. So that's a wrap. As always, from us to you, have yourselves a very big GM or GN for that matter, depending on where it is you're at. And we'll see you next time on the next Dropcast. Take care and we'll see you soon.
Good day, everyone.